By the way, I had 3 more restaurants that I had to send Justin Pugh's way that I texted Mike. Sweet Pork Wilson's, of course. Slyman's.
Okay.
And Larder, which is a great
Larder's
place.
All right.
Anyway, Bernie is with us.
Hey, guys.
By the way,
we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, and it's not me, and it's not DeJuan Jones. A Steelers fan into the studio. Bernie, say it ain't so.
I'm not drinking again or back taking drugs, okay? Although the TBI or CTE could be legitimate here, that I'm traveling with a TJ Watt wannabe today.
Wow.
And I'm thinking about where you guys are not drinking your coffee powder.
We're total slackers.
I'll tell you what I'm on.
At home.
I am on the Addy. Not not the other one. Not the prescription pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
The one. Hey, Kosar. Listen, I had to drop it down to 1. I was so focused. They said take 2. I had to step it down. My wife was like, "You wide awake?" I said, "I know." My eyes about this big right now.
I had to step it down too. It's just I can take 1 capsule and one drink.
I was like,
exactly.
Yeah.
But that's actually flushing the sugar and toxins out of you too, while keeping you energized.
See?
And that's actually why we have our Steeler fans here today, and the Browns representative, the awesome Stephen Gregg, is here. And typically I don't dance around and hang with the Pittsburgh Steeler contingent, especially on Steeler game day here in Cleveland. But Zach Apple is here as an Army veteran, 39 years old, originally from Altoona, Pennsylvania. And he is granting a wish for Stephen Gregg. And me and Stephen met at the opener of the Dallas game, but it got a little hectic because my daughter went into labor.
I remember
and we had a baby. I became a grandfather that day. But Stephen's battling some massive health issues right now with leukemia and stuff. So some of the natural things that I'm doing, I've been working with Stephen on, and Zach. It's just been an amazing, despite the fact that he's a misguided Steeler fan, it's just been an amazing man.
He most importantly fought for our country. So we
fought for our country, dealing with some
that.
of the PTS stuff with Veterans Day last week and stuff. He's dealing with some of that issues too. So some of the natural addies and some of the pea protein powder, raw coffee powder, is Zach and Stephen are doing. But it's more so about Zach, despite that TJ Watt jersey and the awesome gift and Make-A-Wish that he's doing, bringing Stephen to town to watch our Browns somehow, some way get to 3-8.
Well, we had former NFL offensive lineman Justin Pugh on earlier. He works with Amazon Prime. He does a tailgate thing, and he predicted the Browns would win. Are you feeling as good about that?
So I was coming here with the optimism in hand as I'm trying to admit that positivity to Stephen and Zach today. And Mike Tomlin's 1-9 on Thursday Night Football. He has not won on the road against a AFC North opponent, so that bodes well for us. It bodes well that teams that play the Baltimore Ravens, a physical team, tend to lose the next week, so that bodes well for us. But in terms of the way this season is going and my awesome respect for Mike Tomlin and the way the season has been, this is still a tough call for us tonight. But we do have some things from the statistical stuff going, and then the air of desperation. The awesome segment that you guys were just doing about the reality if we keep losing and if we do have the first pick, there's certain people that won't be here executing that decision. So there's a balance in a rivalry game like this, and feelings do matter, and job preservation is absolutely at stake for the players and coaches and front office people that are watching this show right now.
Bernie, this is the first time Nick Chubb is going against Pittsburgh since the tragic injury. What do you think he's feeling emotionally, and do you think that could this be a breakout game for him? Because everybody's still holding on the fact that he can get back to himself. He's had some couple of carries where it's went for 15 yards. Is this the game that he can pull that off? Even with the elements, it's going to be a heavy run game.
I so want that to be. I love it. This would be me, I believe, going back to my Disney World youth right now, or my heavy alcohol drinking consumption. This weather out there yesterday was torturous. with the wind that happened. So it's dissipated some today, but it's supposed to be in that 15 to 20 mile an hour winds as it's getting cold and possibly light rain and stuff tonight. The Steelers are notorious about taking and shutting down the run. And with this miserable throwing conditions, I think they're going to pack the box even more and really be Nick Chubb the focal point of shutting him down. So I'd love to see that. I want to see that. But the Steelers are going to condense the line of scrimmage, almost that rugby scrum crap. And this is going to be a tough ask for Nick to do that.
All right, so the weather conditions are going to stink. We know that. You've played in these conditions many times, probably a lot more than Jameis Winston has played. What advice would you give to him going into a game like this? 36 degrees, snow, sleet, like brutal, brutal conditions, wind going to be gusting. We know that. Like, what would you tell Jameis, a mindset? Like, do this, don't do this. What would you say?
Yeah, that's a great question. There were game plans this time of the year where there's good weather and then there's bad weather game plans and stuff. And this is absolutely the latter of that. So, being a realist, that you got to go in and have certain plays in mind. And there's some easier plays that, you could dip to in the screen game and in the play action and the boot game. And because Jameis hasn't been overly running, that would be absolutely something that I would try to implement more of, just like I would anticipate Justin Fields getting snaps today and him kind of running like Taysom Hill punished us last week with. So they're going to do the same thing without JOK in there. That's an incredible issue for us. So that's one thing that's Jameis's issue. But then also for Jameis, with this wind, and it'd be too long for right now, but there's certain tells that our wind does within the stadium when it blows from the cold northwest like it is today, that will do things inside the 50-yard line that you must understand below the uprights as to what the wind's going to do below the uprights in certain directions. Then if you happen to throw it with a lot of air on it, what it does when it gets above the uprights, which is opposite of what it does below the uprights.
Man, you need to be texting Jameis right now. What you talking? Like, you got the whole blueprint out there.
Yeah.
We can't have balls sailing on us today.
No, that's exact, and that's where, again, some quarterbacks in the past, you could look and see that they did not throw any completions on fade routes going from east to west inside the 50-yard line to their left because of the way the wind materializes and looks and affects the ball. And I know we're pros and we're supposed to just deal with the elements, but you have to understand the elements to take advantage of them.
So, kind of along the line with what Dustin was saying, when you're playing a game out there, what is the most, I guess, the biggest hindrance? Some people, will think that just the cold weather. Is it games that are just cold, games where the football is wet, or games where the wind is going, or games when you can't get your footing? Like, which is the most difficult place to be in?
As one of the slowest guys in the world, I love the bad footing because I had the same consistent speed, and you athletes were slowed down. Okay, so you came back to the pack to me, and I actually really embraced excessive heat or excessive cold or excessive rain or excessive snow, because that again brought the athletes back to the pack. The thing that neutralized me, but I had to bluff through it when I was playing, is I hated wind. Like, I would have been miserable right now at 12:33. Okay, I would have been miserably uncomfortable scrambling to get my wind game plan right now. This is a terrible feeling for a quarterback if he knows the type of wind it's going to get tonight.
Bernie, I'm curious, when you played against the other great quarterbacks of your era, whether it was especially the AFC guys like Marino, Kelly, Boomer, Warren Moon, Dan Fouts, right? Was that extra motivation? Because Myles Garrett's playing against TJ Watt. Like, I'm curious, did you have extra motivation even though you're not playing directly? So
my answer, that's a great question. My answer was, and I love Myles, okay?
Yeah.
But that's not my answer, okay? Even though it is kind of true, you do pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay, because I knew all those names, and I'm so thankful that those are the names you mentioned, because I came out on top against most of all those names.
Yes, you did.
Thank you for not saying John.
I left
and
him out.
Joe Montana.
I left him out.
But for a 5.5 run of a quarterback who lost a $1.85 for that era, I'll take being third to those two. Okay,
That's right.
With beating all those other names.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that it is in your head, but it's in your head knowing like are some games that you could make a mistake or two, and that you could have a chance to rectify that mistake. When you're playing those type guys, you knew, although I'm not playing against them, I knew I couldn't make multiple screw ups. So I had to be a little more focused. That's kind of what gives me the ideas on some of my wellness products. Being focused, being attentive, knowing the ramifications of mistakes. When you're playing those type guys, you can't really have them. And I was a little surprised that because I love to say nothing in the lead up to games, even if it's true. And I would talk smack during the game, but that's the game. Because you don't want to wake a sleeping giant.
Sure.
And the Steelers are coming off. They felt good about themselves. They didn't expect to be 8-2. They didn't expect to have a solid, whether they win or lose, they're going to be in first place in the AFC.
Yeah.
They didn't expect to do this. They're coming on the road to come to Cleveland, where they're 1-9. Coach Tomlin, one of the greatest coaches ever, who has a chance to have his 18th consecutive winning season today. They were ripe to maybe be a little lethargic early. When you talk about the big dog, number 90, their superstar, that kind of raises their attention over there. And you want to keep that dog sleeping as long as possible.
Bernie, it's been a lot of talk this week about Stefanski being on the hot seat with the 2-8 start. Do you think a 2-time coach of the year just signed an extension? Do you think that that's fair for him to be on the hot seat?
So I get to talk and stuff, so no is the short answer. I am not his marketing guy. I don't overly talk to him, so I'm not a Browns employee. And I really like him as a head coach. And I 2-time head coach of the year. I know it's almost like I had to go down to West Virginia this week for some medical stuff. West Virginia has a really good medical school. I drove through Pittsburgh. So I listened to talk radio in Pittsburgh. It amazes me that they have Mike Tomlin at times on the hot seat. Okay, and they were complaining that they're 8-2. Oh, it was a lucky 8-2 over there. I know we're on the other side of the spectrum with the weather or with the record like we have, but like, who change for change's sake, I know it makes us feel good in the short run, just like the poll question of do we want to beat the Steelers or have the number 1 pick. Change makes you feel good, but who are you going to change to that's really going to rectify the issue? And I know we say Mike Vrabel and stuff, but it's more than, I believe, just the Kevin Stefanski issue right now.
No doubt about it. Bernie, tonight when Jameis takes the field, so far in the first 3 games he's played 2 good games against defenses that are not particularly good. He struggled against a really good pass defense in the Chargers. Yesterday we had another former NFL quarterback on, Sean King, and he feels like Jameis is the answer, at least for the time being, even going into next year. He thinks Jameis should be the quarterback going forward. I'm not ready to go that far yet. What do you think? Like, do you think he could reasonably be the starter next year again? Or are you not ready to go there yet?
So I really like Jameis. I love how he played last Sunday.
Yeah.
And even though it looked like a blowout and stuff, to make plays like that and almost throw for 400 yards the way things have been going this year, I thought was really cool. I know that may not overly excite people, and I am want to be positive on the quarterbacks and stuff, but I'm not trying to just replicate positivity by saying the compliments towards Jameis. And I do think, though, he can be the guy as the quarterback next year, mainly because a redo is coming, and to throw a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams the Bears, with a loaded offense,
Right.
and look at how they're struggling. Let's not crush the next guy's career before it starts.
Right.
So Jameis, yes, could be that quarterback like Gary Danielson was to me,
Right.
and Gary was a massive influence to me positively. I believe Jameis as a starter, like that Joe Flacco type stuff, would be amazing starting, and then a great influence for a guy to try to get through the Drake May stuff. Look at Drake May looks kind of good, and he cruised in about week 5 or 6, and or sitting out a year like Love did. So that
Mahomes also
did.
Cam Ward, these guys were talking about him before. I know you've mentioned him before. He's your Miami guy.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with my You Matter and Miami stuff. I love him, and I love Shedeur Sanders. And like, for people like deciding, like, should Dion stay or should he go? Should he take care of his son? Well, great coaches are made by great players, and his son's a great player. So if he likes being in the quarterback in the coaching world, that his son could play. So that type of system that he's doing, and those type of guys like Cam Ward, I think they're ready. They're ready to go. But I think throwing them in right away, you risk something. And we know, though, we're going to take the salary cap issue really coming up. So to have a Jameis and have a veteran that could ease even a superstar quarterback, and I put Cam Ward not because of UM, I put him up there with Shedeur. As a guy that's special.
You know, Bernie.
With Patrick Hunter, I'm with you guys on that too.
I was sitting there thinking, and I was talking to my dad, and we was talking about why people love the '80s Browns so much. Like, all those guys, like, they come on the show, and the reason why we love those iterations is because you guys had a floor. Like, you knew, like, oh, if it's a bad year, you're still going to give me 9-10 wins, right? If you have a really terrible year, you're still going to get 7, right? Now, I think the problem and why so many fans, and I saw a bunch of fans at the Cavs game last night, and a bunch of them was just dejected. And they kept just saying, like, it's demoralizing that the Steelers, even when they're not supposed to be good, even when they get retread quarterbacks and Justin Fields, and nobody wants Russell Wilson. Yeah, here you go with them again. These guys are 8-2, but even when we have Super Bowl aspirations, we're the evil twin, the kid that doesn't get. We get the generic shoes, they get the Jordans. We're 2-8. How are they able to consistently have a level floor where it don't matter Duck Hodges or
Bubby
Mason
Brister,
Rudolph, Bubby Brister, guys like that. It's just, it makes me crazy.
They were mediocre with a guy named Bubby.
Neil O'Donnell.
That's because I got to beat him.
Tommy Maddox.
Neil O'Donnell, another terrible quarterback.
Can you explain it to us?
And let's face it, I'm going to give the Steelers fan trouble here. Terry Bradshaw is the most overrated quarterback in the history of football. Let's be honest about it. Come on, Bernie, admit it.
Zach is 39 years old. He wasn't even close to alive.
I'm sorry, I interrupted G's question. So go ahead. Why? Why is that the case?
So I'm impressed with, as a Browns guy who grew up in Youngstown, who's supposed to hate the Steelers. I say a joke that it's one of the premier organizations of all time. 6 Super Bowls and 6 different eras. In every era, they've been one of the great teams. And then I do add the punchline, except for the 9 years I kicked their backside.
Right, that's it.
But in seriousness, they really are that continuity and consistency and foundation of toughness. And actually that 34 defense that they've always kind of stuck to. And, from your defensive side, there's some things they do in the running game. And when you have, I keep pointing to my right to Zach here, a 90 TJ Apple. I'm so old, I think of Greg Lloyd at number 95. Oh, yeah. Kevin Green, who wiped me out. Harrison. They've have those big.
LeVon Kirkland.
Those big, tough guy like Sam, Will, middle linebackers that are stout, and they always have like a Cam Hayward type stout in the middle. So, man, when you're foundationally that rock solid, and ironically that Mike Tomlin has kept this streak alive over the last half dozen years with a deteriorating offensive line. So their offensive line play, which has been a cornerstone of their foundation for 60 years, 6 decades, but
60 years.
now it's unfortunately coming back that, you know, they got the Zach Davis, the center from West Virginia. They made a couple picks on the offensive line, and now unfortunately that's getting better. So they're actually retooling what I believe they do best, core foundational, tough guy football, which is what we got to stand for.
That's depressing there, Bernie, that they're coming. Last thing, real quick, 30 seconds or less. Better athlete, Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson?
So I said I thought Deion was one of the best ever, but I got to beat, I beat both of them in games.
There you go.
They're both at such an elite level, and Bo Jackson, for him to also overcome things like his stuttering issues and things like that, and being introverted, and then to be able to come out, was one of the guys that has really kind of embraced me to be able to be more open about some of my insecurities or mistakes in the past. And Bo's been real helpful at helping others by talking about some of the stuff he's done, you know, with that. And I know we only have a few minutes left with it, but, and again, not overly for a promotional thing, but this Kosar Wellness and these inhalers, 15% of it today goes to, and for this, to the Stephen Gregg, and what we're doing for him and his foundation, for him and his fight to beat this tough diagnosis he got with his leukemia. We love you, brother.